going on YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everyone's off to a great week so far. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. You know, when I look at today's society and how we handle when someone says something that goes wrong or when something doesn't go right, the first thing people will love to do, is run to social media. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You guys get the whole picture. Instead of one, confronting the problem, two, really trying to understand, is it necessary for me to put this on a social media? And as you have now seen the title, the point that I'm trying to make is this. There's a better way to handle situations in life. Personally, it doesn't matter. Matthew Judon, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, is in the headlines. Harry and Jamison Hensley, ESPN reporter, are in the headlines for, in my opinion, the wrong reasons. For all my Raven fans out there, let me say this. Matthew Judon, I have nothing against him. I think Judon is a great outside linebacker. He did have a disappointing season to me. You got franchise tagged and 6 sacks and 21 tackles. If I'm looking, to me, that's disappointing for a guy who is seeking a long-term deal. And I'm not bashing him. What I'm saying is that, okay, where was the guy the year before? Is my question. And I get it, and I understand COVID and training camp and different things, and I understand that. I do. But Matthew Judon is set to be a free agent this year. Okay? And Jamison Hensley, according to a source within the Ravens organization, is saying that during the season, this past season, Baltimore offered Judon what Zadarius Smith, former Raven, now Green Bay Packer, got $16.5 million. Judon don't want that. Okay? Judon is saying, I didn't agree to that. Now, excuse me, as I'm pulling up the tweets. According to this article, TotalProSports.com, Matthew Judon does not like to be lied on. The Baltimore Ravens have a large list of free agents, him included, to take care of in the offseason. According to ESPN's Jamison Hensley, the Ravens offered Judon a similar deal this summer to what Zadarius Smith received in Green Bay last year. Judon goes to Twitter, I don't know why, and says, quote, okay, look, this dude is lying. If the Ravens did offer me during the season, they wouldn't tell you because it's against league rules. And me and my team ain't talking to dogs, so where's he getting this info? Jameis Hensley responds, I will definitely add your response to the piece. If you ever have an issue with any of my reporting, I will be happy to listen and explain. I have always aimed to cover you in a respectful manner in your 5 years in Baltimore. Hope you have a great season. Then somebody else responded to him and said, Judon, you really expect the reporter to reveal their sources? Also, you really think teams follow league rules all the time? He's just doing his job. I understand you feel slighted, but your target shouldn't be him. Nah, he the same dude. This is Judon responding to this person. Nah, he the same dude that I said I asked for 20. I ain't mad at Buddy for doing his job, but he got to rely on someone else sometimes. And the rest of it didn't make any sense. Then let me get into the second part of that. So I'm gonna say on this part, I see what Draymond Green is saying. Let me take it back. When I look at Draymond Green's comments he made about Andre Drummond sitting on the bench in street clothes because the Cavaliers wanted to trade him. Okay. Draymond Green is upset because he made a comment about saying they need to get my man D Book out of Phoenix. If you look at that Inside the NBA clip, he said that. Now, let's keep it real. We don't hold franchises accountable like we hold players. Now I'm going to keep referring to Draymond Green because Draymond Green did say something that I disagreed with. He said as fans, we don't hold franchises accountable. That's not true. For example, okay, Baltimore Orioles. For all my Oriole fans out there, if you remember the 2018 season, that year was Manny Machado's last year as an Oriole. And if you remember, we all know how Peter Angelos is as an owner. He's cheap. He does not like spending his money. He does not care about the Orioles. Plain and simple. He's all about money. That was Manny Machado's last year. Now, if I remember correctly, he did say he would be open to come back to playing for Baltimore. But he was not going to get the money like Mike Trout, like Mookie Betts. He wasn't going to get no $300 million, 15-year, $300 million contract. It was not happening. He was essentially going to get Chris Davis money. What did Baltimore do? Baltimore was not going to let him go empty-handed. So what did they do? They traded him. But for years, we as fans, and I agree with Draymond from this perspective, we've never held ownership to a high standard. I remember one year, I want to say, and I'm just stay with me. Just stay with me. One year, referring to the Orioles, one year, I think it was 05-06, Peter Angelos came out and said, oh, we're going to get Johnny Damon. We're going to get Paul Bird, high key other free agents, Paul Konerko. I cannot remember the other guy he wanted to get. None of them signed with us. He talked all that. He had all that lip that year. And that was in elementary school. He had all that lip. He wanted to sign Johnny Damon, Paul Konerko, Paul Bird, and instead, B.J. Ryan goes to Toronto. Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, free agents. The only guy we really got that was relevant was Ramon Hernandez, who was a defensive catcher. Pretty good damn catcher for the Oakland Athletics. The point I'm trying to make is this. We've never, some of us, not all, but for the most part, some of us have held ownership for the Orioles accountable as compared to others who don't. Everyone just goes, oh, well, the Orioles suck because they can't never build a good team. Instead, we never hold ownership accountable. In this case, when I look at Matthew Judon case, hold the Ravens front office accountable. Because as a reporter, reporters aren't going to reveal their sources. They're just not. When you hear, for example, Stephen A. Smith on First Take, well, according to my sources within the Knicks organization, Julius Randle, blah, 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 blah. He ain't going to give you the name of his source. Or one of my league sources just texts me, He ain't going to tell you who that is because that's his source. Adrian Wojnarowski has his sources. He's not going to tell LeBron James or Kevin Durant where he got that information from. That's his source. But again, it comes from who? Within the organization. That leaked out because we were aware that They talked to him about a long-term deal, but he wasn't. He didn't want the money that he was looking for. If it's not $16.5 million, Matthew Judon, what is it? He's not going to tell us because he clearly said he doesn't. It's not what he wants. So that tells me he wants more. Which is quite alarming because, again, I'm looking at this NFL season, right? Because of COVID. The salary cap is not, it's different. The salary cap was raised to $180 million. You've got a good chunk of teams that are still operating in the red. Example, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs. Just to name a couple right there. Just give an example. The Baltimore Ravens, according to SpotTrack.com, and I'll leave it in the description for y'all to see, they are projected to have under $20 million in the cap to work with. And that's not only including a laundry list of free agents that have to be taken care of. And that half that front seven are free agents. Matthew Judon, Pernell McPhee, Yannick Ngakoue. Potentially you may have a cap casualty. Brandon Williams, who signed a 5-year deal, $52 million. I believe he's scheduled to make $7-8 million. I could be wrong. And he just turned 30. May have to potentially cut him. Calais Campbell will be 34. I'm not liking his age, and I don't like that contract. Derek Wolfe is a free agent. You may bring him back on a cheap contract. LJ Fort may be a potential cap casualty. So, and then also Tyrus Bowser as well. So when you look at what's left, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison, Osero Asuka, I think that's how you say his name, and Jalen Ferguson. You can't sign everybody, so the Baltimore Ravens, Matthew Judon, are going to have to make some tough decisions. And I hate to say this, but you may have to take a hometown discount, which I know you won't do. Even if you gave him the grass is greener on the other side pitch, which I know he won't listen to. So I'm looking at the free agents. I'm looking at the salary cap. And not only about that, but addressing Baltimore's other needs. A number one wide receiver, which is clearly needed. An offensive line that clearly is needed. Besides, I don't know what Ronnie Stanley's going to look like, but I don't know how you're feeling about Ben Powers, Matt Sikora, Patrick Benkari, Tyree Phillips, who I liked, who did a good job in my opinion. Ben Borderson, Tristan Colin Castillo. I don't know how you're DJ Fluger. I don't know how you're feeling, and Orlando Brown Jr., who wants to be traded. I don't know how you're feeling about that, Matthew Judon, when a good chunk of your line was not good this year and needs to be fixed. There are tough decisions that Eric DeCosta, Dick Cass, and Steve Bisciotti are going to have to make. Just plain and simple. Now, Matthew Judon is not going to tell you what his asking price is. He's just not. But he said $16.5 million isn't what he wants. But I'm telling you this right now. He wants more than that. He said it's not 20. So something doesn't add up with that. But I don't understand why you think it's best to go on a social media and clown him when you can easily send him a direct message. Apparently, you guys must follow each other on Twitter. He said he's covered you the last 5 years in Baltimore, so I'm assuming you guys have a relationship where it's a, hey, how are you doing? You know, have a good day. Hey, good game today. One of those type of relationships. You could have easily picked up the phone and easily sent him an email saying, hey, I just want to let you know that that's not true. We didn't come to an agreement about $16.5 million. Well, somebody in the organization said it, and you need to have your anger directed towards them. You see, and again, this is what I'm talking about. The media never wants to put the narrative on the team. It's always the players. But the players are, in my opinion, put themselves in this kind of position. Because the first thing they want to do is run the social media like Matthew Judon. Now, he now wants to get into the point where he's threatening to leak photos of Mr. Jameson at a strip club. First and foremost, I think that's low class. I don't know why you're resorting to blackmailing somebody because they according to you, aren't giving the correct facts. And I just want to point this out. This was what he said on his Instagram. I know y'all don't know because I just found out this year, but you have a month to sign a long-term deal after being franchise tagged. And I'm surprised your agent didn't tell you that, but okay. If a deal doesn't get done within that time, ain't no deal, no talking between two parties. At Jamison Hensley. So I'm waiting for your ESPN sourced apology, or I'm leaking these photos I got you in the strip club. Why are you resorting to that? Because at the end of the day, again, like I said, there's a better way of handling this. Again, I've said this in I don't know how many videos, but people see this, people watch, people don't forget. Wow, okay, he threatened to blackmail a reporter because he didn't give the correct information. And again, reporters are not going to give out their sources. We all know who it came from. It came from within the organization. He's doing his job. Do I like the way reporters do their job sometimes? Absolutely not. But hey, at the end of the day, if I'm told by my boss, hey Nathan, I need this report on Matthew Judon, 3 o'clock, or we're going to have a problem. I have a job to do. Players don't get that. They think, well, I don't understand why you're putting this out. I'll give you an example, right? Stephen A. When they were on First Take, it was Jalen Rose, Skip Bayless, and Stephen A. And Stephen A. had made brought up an example of him and Allen Iverson, because we all know AI. Stephen A. covered AI when he was in Philly, and he said that supposedly Allen Iverson's daughter was in the hospital. If I'm saying this correctly, was at the hospital, and it was reported he wasn't there. He was at some party. Now, Stephen A. told Jalen Rose, but people didn't know, his boss told him there needs to be a story, and you have 3 days, you have less than 24 hours to make it a story. I don't like that, but that's a tough job a journalist has to do. Just like when these reporters, like for example in Oklahoma City, I can't think of his name, but his name escapes me. With Russell Westbrook, that relationship, Barry Trammell, that's his name, and he asked the question, why is it the team doesn't play better when Russ is not on the floor? Russ takes that personal. But it's the truth. At the time, yeah, why does the team not play better when Russ is not on the floor? Compared to when he's on the floor, they play better. But again, these athletes today, I'm sorry to say, they don't like it when you report these kind of things, and they don't like it when you criticize, if they're not playing well, etc. They don't like it. They think that you should be reporting good things about them. At the end of the day, excuse me, it's a job that has to be done, and Matthew Judon should handle this the right way. What is blackmailing somebody going to do? Because there's always two different sides to the story. The truth is going to come down the middle. Whether Matthew Judon likes us or not, we're going to find out what happens come free agency. We know you're going to want more than what you're asking for. We just don't know what it is because you're not going to say anything. because it is league rules. But to go this route, I can't agree with that. That's not cool. It's not cool because at the end of the day, what do you gain from that? If roles were reversed, if the reporter did that to him, he had a problem with it. He's married, Matthew Judon. He's married and has 2 kids. What about Jamison Helmsley? You don't think he has? I know he's married, but you don't think he has kids too? And how that could potentially affect them? You wouldn't like it if someone did it to you. Be smarter. And understand that, again, people are watching. Teams see this and go, okay. Listen, I want Matthew Judon. I want Matthew Judon back as a Raven. I'm like John Harbaugh. He said he wants him back, but it has to be at the right price. But I'll be damned if I see another linebacker, a key member of that front 7, C.J. Mosley, Zadarius Smith, potentially Matthew Judon, and potentially Yannick Ngakoue walk. Get a free agency. I'll be damned if I see that again. Because it lets me know that, okay, Baltimore can't sign linebackers. The guys that they've drafted, well, with the exception of Ngakoue because he was traded, but can't pay what they're looking for. And we all know C.J. Mosley got overpaid. Zadarius Smith, he may have got overpaid. Maybe C.J. and then maybe Matthew Judon. But we're going to see what happens. Free agency, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm a firm believer, this is just my opinion, whatever happens in this free agency will have a tremendous impact on next year's season. That's my opinion. But with that being said, I'm going to leave these links in the description for y'all to see. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, there's a better way of handling situations like this. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete. You can be an everyday person. There's a better way. This is not. With that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay up.